Hi guys, in this video here, I wanted to talk about smart water meters. Now I know it's been a few months since I've recorded a video. I really needed to take a few months off. It's been a number of personal matters that have come up in my life that I really needed to attend to. But it was really a recent client of mine that really sparked me to shoot this video. And this client of mine, he actually lives in a city called Cambridge, Ontario. And for those of you watching that aren't familiar with this area here, Cambridge, Ontario is really a city that's about just over an hour outside of the city of Toronto. And what this city is doing is they're actually taking all of the old analog water meters out of the homes and businesses, and they're replacing them with smart technology. Now you can see here on the left-hand side of your screen here, I'm actually showing you the smart water meter here that they're actually putting in people's homes. And this particular smart meter, it's actually manufactured by a company called Census. And Census is actually owned by a company called Xylem. And down below the smart water meter here, you can see this is actually the smart water meter wireless transceiver. And this is a device that actually gets hardwired to your smart meter. And this is the device that's actually sending out the wireless data to the substations. And here on the right-hand side of your screen, I've also got another article here that was pulled directly from the Cambridge, Ontario website. And it really shows you this project that they're working on here. And I just wanted to read a little bullet point to kind of show you what's going on here. Now it says down here at the bottom, it says, the management of the installation process of the smart water meter project was contracted to KTI Limited. KTI Limited will begin installations in February 2023, which is just earlier this year in the winter, and is expected to complete the project in July 2023. Approximately 1,594 residences and businesses still require a new smart water meter install or retrofit. The city will contact residences and businesses to schedule an appointment to install or retrofit the water meter. We thank you for your patience and understanding and look forward to your cooperation. And my client he ended up getting these phone calls from the city. And the city wanted to come into his house and remove his old water meter and put this new smart technology in. And at first, what he did is he refused this. He told them that, I'm not interested. I don't want this technology in my home. So really what ended up happening with all this is that the city actually ended up, they told him that they were going to turn off his water if he did not comply. And this is when my client actually reached out to me. And he was concerned about this. And he was wondering, what can I do? These people want to come in. They want to put this in my home. I'm telling them I don't want it, but they're threatening to turn my water off. And towards the end of this video, I'm going to show you what's really transpired with this particular client here and what we actually did. Now, before we get to that, when you look at the city of Cambridge, for example, the city of Cambridge is, I think, just shy of 150,000 people. And when you're removing this water meter from all the homes and businesses and replacing it with this smart technology, and you're doing it in such a short span it really is showing us how quickly we are moving towards this grander Internet of Things. And I'm sure most of you guys watching probably already familiar with this term, but really what the Internet of Things is, it's really when everything becomes connected. Everything on the planet becomes connected to the internet. And this is really the foundation of this is really 5G. This is why we need it to make this happen. And with all this, with this Internet of Things that's coming, there's a number of other things that come along with it. And we've got things like smart cities. Smart cities are being built all across the world. And 5G is going to be at the roots of these cities on how everything's going to become connected. And we've got things like the blockchain. We've got things like these central bank digital currencies that are threatening on the horizon here as well. And of course, we've got the World Economic Forum. We've already got to see their insight on what their plans are. And we've got things like the social credit system that is, happening over in China. And it's absolutely insane what's going on over there. And not only that, we have something that's actually called the Internet of Bodies. And the Internet of Bodies is just an extension of the Internet of Things that really now allows the human body to become connected to this. And for me personally, guys, when you see a city like this that's so close to home for me, I mean, I'm here in the city of Mississauga, and we are not doing this yet. I still have my old meter inside my home, and I don't know, I haven't heard of anything changing. But to see a city like this in Cambridge that's so close to me become, retrofit like this, where we've now really given the establishment, the cities themselves, the control over our water. Because what most people don't realize is that these smart water meters, you can actually remotely turn off your water supply to your home. I mean, this can happen at any time. And it just, what I talked about before here just a few minutes ago with this social credit system that's, over in China. I mean, this is massive.
Something you said keeps rattling around in my frontal lobe.
What's that?
Control the water, and you control everything.
Come now, Mr. Rango. You attribute divine power to me. How on earth could I possibly control the water?
You've obviously mastered this game.
You can almost see time passing.
What are you building out here?
The future, Mr. Rango. The future.
Now, I absolutely love these animated cartoon movies, guys, because they're really just packed full of insight. Really packed full of insight into really what our future might look like. And in this particular movie, it was released back in 2011. And in this movie, what they were doing is they were building a town. It was a town called Dirt. And for me, I can make the connection with this town that they were building in this movie to a lot of the smart cities that are being built today. Because in order for this town of Dirt to assemble itself, the control of the water supply was fundamental. And in any smart city that we're building today, I think controlling the water supply will be, again, fundamental, which is why we need to pay attention to what's happening in cities like Cambridge. Now, for me, I'm not stopping here, because I see something more with this, because we really have to look at structured water science. Because I truly believe, guys, that if we could find a way to artificially control the structure of water, then the possibility of controlling humanity becomes possible with this. And I really want to share my insight with you guys on really what I see here, because I want to talk about how we can actually, from what I see, how we can actually artificially control the structure of water, and also looking at how I think it could be done naturally. And I wanted to look at the two differences here, because I think this is going to be very important to know this stuff based on really where our future is headed here. So I'm really foreshadowing into the future a little bit here, guys, because I'm showing you some of the videos that I want to cover. I really want to get more deeper into structured water science, because I truly believe that electricity is fundamentally what's driving this. So we'll get there. But now I want to come back into this smart water meter that we're installing in the city of Cambridge. And more specifically, I want to focus in on this wireless module that they're connecting to the smart meter. And you can see here, I got it shown here on the left of the screen. And really, this is the wireless transceiver that connects, it can send out all your data to the substations. And I want to read the operation, the theory of operation on how this works here. There's a little bullet point that I want to read. And it says the SmartPoint 510M module receives input from the smart meter register and remotely sends data to a walk-by or a drive-by fixed base collection device. Now, this is very interesting to read, because really what this means is that at any time, someone could just drive by in their car, and by the click of a button, really upload all of the data from, what you're doing with your water, from when you're using it, from when you're using it the most, to when you're not using it, and so many other things. All of that can be done by really the click of a button. And this is really important for you guys to know, because in the case of my client, what the city actually wanted to do is they wanted to take this wireless module and put it inside the home. And this is really when, when a client called me, we started talking about all this stuff. And then he told me about what they wanted to do. And I said, look, if you can't refuse the installation, at least get them to not put this inside your house. Get them to put it on the outside of your home. And after some, serious debates that were had here, the city did agree to actually put this on the outside of his home. But originally, and this is important I want to share with you guys, is that originally they wanted to put this inside the home. And it goes right, somewhere close to where the smart meter is, the smart water meter. If they're putting this inside the home, and say they put it downstairs in your basement, and this could be sitting like right below where one of your children is sleeping. And like I just mentioned, at any time, someone could drive by in their car or walk by, and at the push of the button, this thing could become active and start sending all this data out. Now over here on the right-hand side, this is the specifications for this particular device. And I wanted to quickly just cover this too, because it shows the actual frequency that they're using. And it says here that the frequency range is between 900 and 950 megahertz. This is how this is the wireless data that's being sent out. This is the frequency range that it's operating on. And this is really a proprietary technology that this Census company here, this company that's owned by Xylem, it's a proprietary technology that they've created. Now, one other thing I wanted to quickly just show you guys here is that at this specification sheet here, if you look down here at the bottom, it says installation environment. I found this very interesting because what it says is the 510M module is designed for side of home applications where it's not subject to submergence. So the actual spec sheet from the manufacturer is telling you that it's designed to go on the side of the home. But my client actually had to fight with the city to get them not to put it inside their home, because that's where they wanted to put it. So I found this very, very interesting that I think you guys really need to be aware of this and keep this in mind if they ever try to come into your home and want to do this. Or if they've done this already, I think there are some options for you guys. Now, I quickly just wanted to touch on this particular frequency that this device is operating on, this 900 to 950 megahertz band. And I'm coming back to this study again that I've covered in videos in the past already. So I'm not going to go much into detail on it. But it's a document that's on Meg DeHavis's website. And it's a study that was done on a number of different frequencies. And 950 megahertz was definitely one of them. And in this particular study, they did this on rats. So they exposed rats to 4 different frequencies for intervals of time. And what they found is that with certain frequencies, more specifically, this 2.4 gigahertz that I've been talking about so much in all my videos, really one of the most, I think, arguably one of the most destructive. And it's the one that you can find in Wi-Fi, in Bluetooth, and baby monitors. They all run on this. This 2.4 gigahertz and the 950 megahertz, which is what this smart meter is operating on, this study found to be the most lethal, the most destructive. And I just wanted it's important to come back to this article and show you guys, because from what my client is saying, they want to put this device in your home. And I think it's important that we keep this thing, get this thing out of your home and put it on the side of your house at bare minimum. And in this study here, as you can see on the right-hand side, this was a study that was done for the US Army. It was done back in 1974. So we knew about the potential harm for these frequencies well over 50 years ago, which is crazy to think about. But one very important thing I want to make clear to you guys here, that in this study, the frequencies that they used, even though that they're the same as what we're seeing inside of our home with these smart meters, the intensity levels is significantly different. Now, in this study, they used intensity levels that were much, much higher than you would ever see with this smart meter device. So it's very important to mention that. And in this study, it was just done at certain intervals. So for a certain periods of time, they expose these rats to these frequencies. And I wanted to just quickly end by just showing you down at the bottom of this study here where, some open items that were left off here. And it says, while this study showed the most lethal frequencies at very high intensities are 950 megahertz and 2.4 gigahertz, it is not clear if the order to toxicity for these frequencies is the same at lower intensities. So this study back in 1974, it's saying that we don't quite know whether the same risk factor will be at the lower intensity levels with these frequencies, which are smart meter, our Wi-Fi, our baby monitors, all these things that are operating under these frequencies, the intensity levels are much lower than what they used in this study. So very important to know that. But again, I think what's more important is not just so much the intensity level of the signal, and I've said this in many my other videos as well, it's the very nature of the signal. What is going on with this signal? Because it's switching. It's information. Information has to switch. These frequencies they're very dynamic in what's going on with these technologies. And when I see that there's a proprietary technology being created here from this particular smart meter, I think this is where the cause for concern should be, because we don't know how biological systems could respond to this. We don't know. And there's a lot of open areas here that are just left open. And I think it's important for you guys to be aware of all this. Now, I really wanted to end this video off talking about what can we do here? What are the possible solutions to what's happening? And I think first and foremost, I think it's very important not to fear what's going on here. And I say that because I truly believe there's always solutions to things like this. And I want to talk about what really transpired with my client on what we did. And there's really 5 things that I wanted to talk about. There's 5 key things that I think you guys could be aware of here. And the first one here, number 1, is that if they call you wanting to install one of these things in your home, what you could do first and foremost is try and refuse it. Tell them that you don't want it, and kind of do what my client did. And he really stuck to his guns here and said, I don't want this thing installed in my home. I just don't want it. And take that as far as you're willing to take that and see what happens, because you never know where you can get if you really stand up for yourself. And I think that's that's very important to cover first. But if they do something like they did with my client, they're threatening to turn your water off, and they do come in and install this thing, I think what you could look at next is make sure they install this transmitter module on the outside of your home, just like their data sheet says, even though they want to put it inside your home, which really to me makes no sense. I think that's very important. If you look down here at the bottom, I got 2 pictures here. You can see here on the far left, this is the module that they put on the outside of the home. And it's great that they did that. And I think it's also important that if you're going to tell them to do that, or they're willing to do that, make sure you pick a wall that's furthest away from all the bedrooms and your common areas. And you can see from this image here on the bottom left of your screen, I'm circling it right now. You can see this is the wall that's furthest away from all the bedrooms. So it's very important, because if this thing does start radiating information, you can ensure that it's furthest away from where your common areas are. Now, the next thing you can do is look at shielding this particular device. Now, this is something that I did with my client here. And you can see down here in the middle bottom of your screen here, you can see there's a shielding cover that I put all around this transmitter. And it was actually very easy to do. And what this thing will do now is that you can ensure that if this thing does start radiating information, I mean, this shielding bag can dampen down that intensity level by in and around 70 or so percent, or even more in some cases. So if you've got this thing on the outside of your home, furthest away from your common areas, you put a shielding bag over top of it to reduce the intensity. I think those 3 things are really, really important to ensure that this thing does not affect you. And this is exactly what I did with my client. And if you're interested in this, if you're interested in looking at one of these shielding bags, which is, I got it shown down here in the bottom right of your screen here. It's on my website. Just go to the product section. It's a great device that'll actually fully enclose the meter. Now, really the fifth and final thing that I've also put up here is that whatever circumstance you're dealing with, guys, is you can always contact me. You know, my phone is on. I've got email active. You know, let me know what's going on. I'd be happy to help you and share my insight and help you with whatever it is that you need to do here. And I just wanted to put that out there because I'm here to help. I'm really, truly here to help, guys. And on that note, I'm going to end this video here. And I thank you guys for watching.